To the online classes of physics. This is your Naimam is back again with the classification of elements. So let us continue the modern periodic table. We have learned in our previous class about the groups and periods. We have even learned about the atomic radius, valency, and even we have learned about the nature of charges. We have learned about the stability. Uh, we have learned about the ionization energy. We have learned about the uh, factors for which on which the ionization energy depends, right? So today we will learn about the electron affinity. What is electron affinity? So electron affinity is defined as the energy which is liberated, the energy liberated during the energy liberated when the electron is added to the neutral atom. When the energy liberated when the electron is added to the neutral atom. Okay, when the electron is added to the neutral atom, that is stable atom, then it is called as the electron affinity. For example, if you are adding an electron to an element, then there is some energy released, then it is called as electron affinity. It is also called as electron gain enthalpy, okay, of that element. Okay, of that element, it is also called, if they ask you electron gain enthalpy, you should not be confused. That means they are asking about electron affinity only. So if they ask electron affinity also, you can write about electron gain enthalpy. So these both are nothing but same. Electron affinity is also called as electron gain enthalpy, that it's nothing but energy liberated when an electron is added to the neutral atom. Okay, for example, to an element, this is one element which is neutral. I am adding one electron. Okay, now this element will become, it is having one extra electron now, so it will become have one minus charge, and even it has released some energy also. So that means it has released some energy. So this is nothing but it is called as electron affinity or the electron gain enthalpy. Okay, for the if you when you're writing one, that means this is the energy released when one electron is added. So this is called as first electron affinity. It is called as first electron affinity. Okay, suppose one more electron is added to this. Suppose this is minus 1 m minus, we have taken, again one more electron is added, again it has released one, this is your minus 2, and again it has released some electron, that is energy, they are called as E2. That means this is your second electron affinity. Is it clear? This is your second electron affinity. So the energy really liberated when an electron is added to a uni-negative ion of the element is called as second electron affinity of that element. However, partially no element shows liberation of second electron affinity. We have simply assumed it, but actually if you see, they don't release any such kind of energy. That does not mean that dinegative or the trinegative ions do not form. Dinegative, trinegative ions will form, but it is not necessary that they will be releasing some kind of energy all the time. Okay, so electron gain enthalpy values decreases when we go down the group. Okay, when we go down the group, in group you can see that there is a decrease in the electron affinity. Okay, if you go through the group, you will see that there is a decrease, but if you go along the period, you will see that there is an increase in the electron affinity. Okay, when you go along the group, there is decrease in the periodic, there is a decrease in the electron affinity. When you go along the period, then you will see that there is an increase in the electron affinity. Metals have very low electron affinity values, and alkali earth metals, they have even positive values also. Whereas now that the negative sign for energy value is in the table indicates that energy is liberated or lost, the positive sign tells that the energy is gained or absorbed. All the factors which influence the ionization energy would also influence the electron gain enthalpy. So what were the factors that we have learned in our electron ionization energy? That is the nuclear charge, the screening effect, the penetration power of the orbitals, and stable configuration, atomic radius. All these things were the factors which were affecting the electron affinity, right? Same factors will affect here also. So next is electron negativity. So what is electron negativity? The ionization energy and the electron affinity were of isolated atoms. Suppose some atoms, single atoms we are saying. Suppose the atoms are in combined scale. Then how you will find? That means that if they are combined also, that that element should have the ability to attract the electrons towards itself, right? So that is electronegativity of an element is defined as a relative tendency of its atom to attract the electrons towards itself when it is bonded to another atom, an atom of another element. Okay, did you understand? Suppose these are singly means we are finding this is isolated element, right? Only one. So for this we know ionization energy also, and we know the electron affinity also. But electronegativity is the energy that is, that is required, that is its ability to attract the electrons towards itself. Suppose this element is combined with one more element, atom of another element. Okay, so when these both are in combination, that means they are bounded to each other, then whatever ability this atom is having to attract the electrons towards itself is called as its electron negativity. Okay, the tendency of an element, of an atom, to attract the electrons towards itself when it is bonded to another atom. Is it clear? When its tendency to attract the electrons, so one element is bonded with the another element, right? So one atom is bonded with the another atom of another element. So the tendency of this electron, this element to or the atom, this atom to attract the electrons towards itself is called as the electron negativity. Okay, the tendency of an tendency of an element to attract the electrons towards itself even after bonding with another element. Okay, then it is called as the electronegativity. So the factors which are affecting the electron ionization energy and the electron affinity also affect the factors, are also are the factors of the electronegativity. Okay, so that means the nuclear charge, the the stability of an element, or you can even say the stability configuration, or the atomic radius, or the penetration power, or screening or the shielding effect. All these things also depend on electronegativity. So the electronegativity is calculated by ionization energy plus electron affinity by 2. Okay, Pauling assigned that electronegativity values for the elements on the basis of bond energies. He assumed that the electron negativity of an hydrogen is 2.20 and calculated the value of other elements with respect to the hydrogen. Okay, for example, we have for the fluorine, we have 4.0. For chlorine, we have 3.0. Like this, for other elements also, he has calculated the electron affinity using this equation. So, if you go with the metallic and the non-metallic properties, we see that metals generally show less electronegativity. Okay, these metals generally show less electronegativity character. In compounds, they generally show tendency to remain as positive ions. Usually, if you see metals, if you take metals, they will usually remain as positive ions. This property is often termed as electropositivity. So they are nothing but they are called as electropositive ions. Okay, and metals are electropositive elements. As mostly you will see that the metals are electropositive ions. Okay, so they are electropositive elements. The non-metals are electronegative due to their smaller radii. As we see that they have very small radius. Because of the small radius, the strongest they can attract the electrons towards itself. So that's why they are electronegative. Okay, they are electronegative. So let us see third period. We know that the sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine. These all belong to third period, right? These all belong to third period. So let us learn about it. So when we see here in the periodic table, you see that these two are metals, right? And aluminium and silver are metalloids. As we already know, what are metalloids? As I said already, metalloids are nothing but the semi-metals. They have both the metal and non-metal properties. If you see phosphorus, silver and chlorine, they are non-metals. They are not metals. So you can see that these, in the periodic table, you can see that metals are arranged on the left side of the periodic table. Yes, they are arranged to the left side, and the non-metals are arranged on the right side of the periodic table. Yes, this means that metallic character decreases while the non-metallic character increases as we move along the period, right? As we move along the period, you see that the metallic character increases, whereas non-metallic character increases, whereas metallic character decreases along the period. If you see along the group, if we see along the group, you see carbon, silicon, germanium, and if we see, we have arranged this fourth group elements. We have arranged here fourth group elements in the uh, periodic table. So we see that carbon, you see that they are non-metals. If you see these silicon and germanium, you see they are metalloids. And if you see the strontium and lead, you see that they are metals, right? So we find that non-metals particularly are at the right hand side top, and metals at the left hand and right hand side bottom of the periodic table. This means the metallic character increases. Okay, metallic character increases along the group, and non-metallic characters decreases along the group. Okay, metallic character increases as and non-metallic character decreases along the group. So you can see that it is total opposite. So with this we complete our periodic table, that is classification of elements. And thank you for watching. If any doubt, please try to go twice the video.